Hi, I'm Kelly Hogan, and welcome back to my Zero Carb Life. I had on a guest who is an addiction specialist who has been working in the addiction space for nearly 40 years, Bitten Jonsson. And that video hit home with so many folks who said this was life-changing and have referred to it in the many, many months since, have said that their journey, their carnivore journey started with that interview. So recently, a mutual friend of mine in Bitten's wrote to say, she has a new book coming out. You should have her back on. So that was an absolutely easy yes. I am pleased to welcome back Bitten Jonsson. There it is, the sugar bomb. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So what inspired you to write this next book? What were the changes or updates that led you to think, I need another book?
So parts of this book is translated material or material from that 10-year-old book. And then there is a lot rewritten and there are several new chapters. And of course, the toolbox is totally new. And the cases, most of the cases are new international cases, not only Swedish people. So that's how it ended up being a book in English.
Nice. Well, I'm excited for all of us. This is very good news. So I heard you mentioned the cases. I heard that in this new book that you sort of do case studies, I guess, on the topic.
I did in the other books too, but they were all Swedish then. No, so many of my clients, and I have treated maybe 6,500 or more people, or met, or counseled, or treatment, or whatever. They always want to share their story when they end up in recovery. And when we work our recovery, if we share our story to help others to identify, I did this too. I did this too.
Yes.
So, oh, you did. Oh my God. We always talk about how it was when it was at its worst.
Yes.
When we were rock bottom.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Why did we quit dieting? Why did we start looking for a bigger, more comprehensive solution? What happened in our lives? Well, the thing that's interesting is that it is knowledge about addiction, the disease concept, as I call it, understanding that I'm an addict. And once we can accept and comprehend that, that's when recovery starts. But we have to have knowledge about addiction. We need to know what it is. It's a brain illness,
Right.
And it's not our own fault. So there's a lot to know about addiction. And then they like to share, how's my life now in recovery? So it's sort of 3 parts.
Okay.
So there are several cases in this book where they share, their journey in order to help others. That, this is how sick I was. And this happened. And this is where I am today.
So much power in that. When I'm hosting calls and somebody is saying, look, I am in the throes of it right now. I can't claw my way out. And then multiple people come in to share their story of how bad it was, how they managed to get out, what their breakthrough was. And now to say, and now I'm free. You just see the spirit of that person. Like, there's hope.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love to teach them to work with solution-focused therapy.
Yes.
You join a support group and then you have a problem. Let's say that you're going to go to a business dinner tomorrow and you're terrified that you're going to relapse or start eating or any kind of situation that is like a risk situation, a new situation.
Yes.
Am I going to bring food, or am I going to tell them, or am I going to hide, or what if I eat, or whatever the situation is? Or it could be more traumatic events, that you have to encounter. And then you have your support group and you ask those people, don't tell me what to do, not in that way. You ask them like, if this was your problem, what would you do? And you ask the next one and the next one. So you ask several people and they all respond to you in this way. Well, if this was my problem, I would do this, A, B, C, and I would do this, and I would do this. And in that way, you get many, many solutions because in your mind, I don't know what to do. I don't have a solution. So in that way, they really learn the nitty-gritty of recovery and to live in this way. How do you eat in this way? How do you behave? What do you tell people? What do you do? And that is such a relief. So that's what the people do, They always ask somebody, have you been there? Yeah. So what did you do? And so forth. And that's how we learn.
I've been asked why I don't have any like beginner carnivore or addiction classes where it's just the people getting started.
Mm.
And I said, well, they would miss out on the greatest gift, and the more experienced folks would miss out on their greatest gift. I have been on Facebook pages where it's all brand new people, and it's
Ooh,
just
oh,
cheat after cheat, you know, diving back.
nightmare, a
Nightmare.
nightmare.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they don't have anyone to turn to look up and say, how did you handle this situation?
right.
So those of us who have made it through to the other side, we get this massive gift of
Yeah,
being able to then pass that on.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. That's how we strengthen our recovery
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
getting to share, by sharing. Yeah.
You mentioned how when somebody has been through the addiction part before and all of how they can pass on sort of their aha moments. Somebody just this week said to me that the first time she heard the phrase or the idea of an abstainer
Mm-hmm.
versus a moderator,
Mm-hmm.
it was like her whole life made sense. And these
Yeah.
are things that, you've been talking about for decades, and that
Yeah.
many of us hear that and like, oh, yeah, some of us are better. It's easier to have none than to have a little. That seems like such an old concept. But there are so many people out there who are just now hearing these beginning things for the very first time.
That was what I meant when I said we have to understand addiction.
Yeah.
We have to understand that the psychoactive substance of sugar and flour
Mm.
will play havoc in our reward system. The neurotransmitter symphony, it's not only dopamine, which people think. It's not at all. It's much more complex with many neurotransmitters that, wobble and twist and one go up, one go down, and vice versa. So you have to understand that in order to heal it. What do you do to heal that? But the thing that so many people miss out, and I know professionals that don't teach this, is how this will activate the reptilian brain, your survival part of the brain. And in that part, the functions you have is fight, flight, freeze, food, and sex. Instinct, survival.
Yes.
And it's one of the strongest parts of your brain because it is, it is ready wired when you're born.
Mm.
So it doesn't learn from experience. It doesn't have a language. It just act. So once you get into an addiction, a psychoactive substance, alcohol, drugs, food, certain foods, when that hit there, the reptilian brain will start screaming, bloody murder, eat or you die, eat or you die. It's overactivated. And the whole stress cycle comes in, fight, flight, freeze. Stress is a big part of this. So when that part of the brain, one of the most difficult parts in treating people is to calm down the reptilian brain so it feels safe. And that's, I call the reptilian brain the red dog, the dangerous part of you that always craves. That's where craving starts. That's where the stress starts. So if you don't understand how to calm that down with behavior, how you act, you can't take a pill to calm that part down. If you don't do that, you're going to just white knuckling it. That's what I mean. You try to fight the urge, the craving, the craving. By the way, that's modern to say food noise. I don't like that word. It sounds diminishing and silly. It is craving.
Mm.
Listen to the word craving.
Yes.
It's worse. Ooh. So you have to understand craving management, how craving starts, what you can do about it. And then the third part of your body that gets overactivated is your pancreas, the insulin producing organ that will start squirting out insulin that will make you resistant insulin resistant in your body. And your brain is an organ and it demands tremendous amount of energy. When you start being insulin resistant in the brain, you lose energy and you get what we call foggy brain. You don't
Mm.
see clear anymore. You
Yeah.
can't see how things are connected. You don't see cause and action. So now you're all confused and think, oh, the next diet, the next diet. And
Yes.
that's not going to work. And then you have the craving. So now we have three parts, three forces. Then you have a fourth force that is really, really the killer force too. And that's your microbiome, your intestinal flora. If you eat, sugar and carbs, you're going to have an imbalanced intestinal flora, and the organisms living in there, they are causing craving because your stomach talks to your brain more than your brain talks to your stomach.
Okay.
So craving is driven from imbalanced intestinal flora. So think about it as you are trapped in the middle with those four forces, driving the illness. So no wonder you have loss of control. No wonder you're trying so hard. And on top of that, your mitochondria say, well, we can't take it anymore. We go to bed. So now you don't have any energy. You're very tired. And one has to understand, I'm making a brief explanation now, but we have to teach our clients everything about this so they understand how these four forces act on each other all the time
Yes.
in order to create peace and harmony in the body. With food is only one factor. You have to learn to breathe in a different way because addicts always overbreathe, and that causes this to be even worse triggered. And then, your sleep. It affects your sleep. So you have to start working on your sleep patterns and then physical activity. And it doesn't mean exercise.
Mm.
It means, taking a walk out in nature, hugging a tree or whatever. You need to be out exposed to sun and many stuff like that. And then, some supplements can be very good. Like fish oil is excellent for our foggy brain. Magnesium is very good. Salt shot, which a lot of people are afraid of taking. And there are some of those things. There are some others too, but basically those are, some of the important things. And also GABA can be very good because people with sugar addiction, they are like a Ferrari bolted to the garage floor with the gas pedal on full throttle. So
Okay.
they are wired and tired.
Yes.
So that's why you need to calm these systems down with certain things. In the old days, many, many years ago, we were doing journaling. We wrote like a food journal as a loving dialogue with our body. Is this food, do I feel good when I eat this, or how do I feel? Many years ago, I started to tell my clients when they did a food journal to write energy level. So I want you to write what you eat and how's your energy level. That's what I think is important. Because if you restore energy, you can do anything. If you're wired and tired and no energy, and your energy goes woohoo, woohoo, up and down, you really don't get things done.
Right.
You're just running around and starting things, but it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
I am. And they say that it takes a great deal of energy, which is sort of counterintuitive, but it takes a great deal of energy to just sleep solidly through the night. So when we
Yes.
have no energy, then our sleep suffers. Even
Yeah.
our non-exercise activities throughout the day, just how much we tend to move or bounce or be
Yeah.
willing to
Yeah.
go
Or
pick something.
think. Or
Yeah,
think.
all of it just
Yeah.
slow. So I'm with
Yeah, and
you.
it is scattered. It's scattered. That's why we talk about spinning thinking. You know,
Mm,
start thinking about something, and oh yeah, and then you do this, and
yeah,
you're scattered. You're scattered.
yeah.
And that's horrible. And you think, God, I've been running around all day, but I got nothing done.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of people probably feel that.
Yeah.
Yes. The four systems, you said we have to work on the microbiome,
Yes,
the
absolutely.
pancreas,
Yes.
the the reptilian brain calming down that red dog.
Yes.
And what was the fourth?
Reward system.
Oh, reward system.
Yeah.
Okay. So can we start with for our microbiome? I would like to talk through those four systems and some
Sure.
some actionable things that people could say, okay, now I understand my gut biome is part of the problem. That is what you said is communicating with the brain all day long.
All the time,
And we
all
think,
the
oh,
time.
it's a little craving, it's a craving. No, our microbiome is in disarray. So it's sending this message to our brain. What can we do to help out the microbiome piece?
Okay. There are many ways you can do it. One of the best things to starve those nasty fungus that lives there, the Candida albicans and a lot of others, is you starve them with food. That's why a keto carnivore diet is so good because it doesn't feed those buggers. And
Yes.
of course, carnivore is wonderful. They feed on carbs and sugar. They grow. Okay. And some people have, got the candida in stage 4, which is leaking gut syndrome, and they get an autoimmune illness from that. And one of the things that destroys the intestinal wall most is grain.
Mm,
That is the killer. But sugar is bad too.
okay.
So you repair it by going on the right diet, and there are some supplements you can do. And I count fermented veggies
Mm.
in very small, as a supplement, not as
Oh,
a food. Yeah.
yeah.
And some people prefer kimchi, a teaspoon once a day of kimchi. So there are some things you can do like that. You can repair it. You need to repair it. Otherwise, it's going to drive the craving. Okay.
Got it. And I do have some carnivore folks who do really well with, say, a tablespoon of their ferments right before they eat their meat or with their
Yeah.
meat. And then
Yeah.
others don't do well with any fiber at all. So they just take the refrigerated type
Yes. The
sauerkraut
liquid,
juice, the liquid
the
from the
juice.
juice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I do that too. I do that sometimes too. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Microbiome. We're starving it with meat. We're taking
Start
that.
loving your microbiome. And of course, stress plays havoc with your microbiome too. And the breathing is absolutely fundamental for the microbiome. And, I tape my mouth at night.
Me too.
Yeah, good, good, good.
Yes.
And I use the relaxator, which
Oh,
is a
yes.
breathing tool. And when I'm out walking, I practice nose breathing, breathe in, and then exhale very slow, twice as long as my inhale.
Yes.
I can do that. I can do lots of breathing exercises, very simple, whatever I do during the day, in front of the computer or whatever. So breathing is very good. It's massage for your stomach.
Mm,
Good.
yeah.
And then pancreas.
Okay.
Okay. And pancreas, it's very, very important to understand insulin resistance
Yeah.
because that is what's killing people today. That causes almost every diagnosis you see in the world today.
Yeah. I believe that.
Yep, I'm reading Benjamin Bickman's book right now. Yeah, I've had it for a long time, but I finally have time to read it because I'm going to meet him in Poland in September at the conference. So I thought I'd read it.
Yeah.
Insulin resistance, especially in the brain. It's only about 25 years ago we didn't know we had insulin receptors in the brain, but now we know.
Yeah.
And insulin resistance in your brain is making you real stupid because there's no nourishment going into the neurons, right?
Right.
Because it's blocked, because it's a resistance, the receptor is blocked.
Yes.
And, so it's very important to understand that. And how do you fix that? Well, food. You eat food that doesn't drive insulin, like, butter, meat, all kinds of meat. There you go. The carnivore diet again. You have to lower insulin. Otherwise, you're going to keep having insulin resistance in your brain.
Yeah.
And if you don't fix that, that's going to lead to dementia. 80% of Alzheimer's is due to insulin resistance in your brain.
Wow.
80%.
Wow.
And there are some supplements you can take, of course, the GABA to calm the body down, like 500 milligrams in the evening and the afternoon, to increase deep rest. The breathing excellent for this. Carnitine, don't overdose it, but you can take some carnitine. Electrolytes, minerals, beautiful, beautiful. Salt shot, very important for the brain.
Talk to me about the salt shot. Just a bit of water with a bunch of
Hmm.
salt in it?
Well, yeah, I take a
Okay.
teaspoon of unrefined sea salt.
Okay.
Has to be unrefined sea salt in the morning and in the afternoon. And it's amazing if you feel that you're tired and sluggish and so, and you do that, you in 15 minutes you're going to start feeling the energy coming back.
Uh-huh. Awesome. That's a great tip.
Yeah, and there's a good book about it too, which is The Salt Fix by James D. Nicolantonio. It's a good book.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I
I
like
love his say, I quote him a lot on one of his saying. He say, "Don't blame salt for what sugar does."
agreed. Yes, so much fear around salt when
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
such a
yeah.
gift from God, this salt. It's
I
amazing.
love salt. I love salt. I wouldn't. Ooh, no. That's one of the first things I do in the morning. And then
Oh,
I take that teaspoon with sea salt and then a big glass of water. That's
okay.
my day starting. Yeah.
Great.
Then I have coffee.
And then the coffee. You've earned it by then. That's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have my cup of coffee.
For insulin resistance, we know that by lowering our glucose, we are then lowering the job that insulin has to do.
Yeah, and
And
lowering the insulin out, the production of insulin, of course.
so you mentioned sleep, and that makes sense because when we're underslept, our glucose response is higher and we become more insulin resistant. You mentioned,
Breathing.
yes, and because of you, I have one of these tools. If anybody's
Okay.
wondering what it's like, what it does, so you take a breath in and it makes sure it gives you resistance on the exhale that makes sure that you breathe out very slowly because you have to.
Overbreathing creates havoc in your body biochemically,
Mm.
and it does affect everything in your body, slows everything down. It increases sugar cravings, sugar and
Mm.
carb cravings, because when you breathe in and out very fast up here,
Mhm.
you know, your body doesn't have time to absorb the oxygen and the carbon
Mm.
dioxide. And carbon dioxide is, together with oxytocin, the two biggest relaxation system in your body. Increasing oxytocin is extremely important to feel relaxed, you know. And learning to breathe correct is very important for all systems in the body to give them the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is not a poison. It's not a poison that
Mm.
we thought all these years. It's giving relaxation to your blood vessels so your blood can take up the oxygen and give it to the cells.
Oh,
Simple as that. Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you have a poor breathing, you're going to have a lot of cravings. I promise you.
Mm. I
Mm.
know that mouth taping was really helpful for me in a lot of areas, everything from leg cramps to better
Yes.
dental health.
Yes.
And I have heard people say that when they learn to breathe better at night and they weren't mouth breathing all night like I used to do, that then
Yeah.
it can also affect cravings or
It does. It
the
does
addictive
affect
brain.
craving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and energy level
Oh, yes.
and the brain. The brain loves it.
Awesome.
So, and also, if you go to the page consciousbreathing.com, there's a lot of knowledge about how to start breathing because some people tell me, "Oh, I get panic. I feel like I suffocate if I'm going to tape." And
Yeah.
then, you can take it, a tape and cut it in small pieces and start like this and
Mhm.
this way, so you doesn't feel all taped. And then you practice taping. But it is beautiful to tape at night.
Yeah. I
It's
agree.
very good.
Game
Yeah.
changer
And
for me. I
yeah, and stressed people mouth breathe more than unstressed people, of course. Makes sense, right?
it
Yeah.
does.
If you practice with this 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes before bedtime, and then now and then during the day, if you're at the computer or watch TV or out walking the dog or whatever, you're going to see that it's easier and easier to tape. You get better and better effect of the taping if you practice deep nose breathing during the day.
That's a good tip.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
good. I've never heard you talk about weight training, but anytime
Hmm.
we talk about the pancreas and insulin resistance, we
Hmm.
know that if we either walk after a meal, we're going to have
Hmm.
less of a glucose
10
response.
minutes after, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the more muscle we have, then the less insulin.
Absolutely. I love
Okay.
weight training. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
great.
boring. It's much more boring than take the dog for a walk in the woods. I'm telling you, go to the gym, or if you have a home gym.
Yes.
It isn't the funniest thing on earth.
No,
It's not for me anyway. I
me
think it's
neither.
boring. But anyway, it is the best way to do it, the weight training or resistance training. We could call it that.
Yes.
People always think, oh, I have to get gym clothes and go to a gym. No, you don't have to do
Mhm.
that. You can use your body as a resistance. There are so many good programs on internet that you can look into. So many little great things you can do.
Yeah.
And sitting in a chair and holding your arms out and go
Mhm.
up and stand up, sit down, stand up. I think it's very important. That is very good leg training.
Oh, yes, I call them butt taps. You're right.
Yeah,
Just
oh,
stand,
okay.
tap
Butt
your butt on
taps.
the chair, tap your
Yep,
butt on the
yep,
chair.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Big muscle groups. And then
Big muscle groups.
and those
Yeah,
muscles will then use up the glucose, which means your
yeah.
insulin doesn't have to work harder.
So for me, every movement counts.
Right.
It's not like I'm sitting on my butt all day and then I have to go to the gym an hour. That would be horrible boring. I
Yes,
don't do that. I have daily exercises.
I like it. Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
little movements throughout the day are going to have a bigger impact on our
Yes,
health
yes.
and
Yeah.
our glucose and insulin than saying, okay, well, I'm sedentary 23 hours of the day, but then I go work out real hard for one. Like, yeah, it's not as effective.
No.
Okay, we have covered microbiome and pancreas. What's next, Bitten?
Oh, my favorite, the red dog.
Okay.
You have to understand the purpose of it is beautiful. It is to
Okay.
help you survive.
Okay.
You know, if you don't have enough nourishment, it screams bloody murder that you have to get food, you know. And if something is crazy in your life, it will turn on the stress. Fight, you know, you watch it.
Yes.
Or flight, I gotta run away, this is dangerous. Or
Mm.
freeze, play dead. You have to understand that in today's society, stress can be so many things. Too many emails, telephone ringing when you don't want it.
Yeah.
So the stress system goes, you have to understand what stress is. Stress is not, I have too much to do. Oh no. Well, maybe for some people, but usually, if you are an active sugar addict, you create crazy things to do. So you run around all day because you're so disorganized.
Mm.
So, you know, to focus and do one thing at a time is very important, but you have to calm the stress down. And, you know, playing dead is not good. Then the bear gonna eat you. What I'm telling you is that you have to understand your reptilian brain, how it fools you, tricks you, sweet talks you into this, because sugar and carbs are the strongest drugs in the world. I absolutely mean that. Due to the fact that, you know, it makes its impact and imprint on your brain when you are very little
Yeah.
and your brain is not developed at that point. So the love affair that you get with these foods when you are a baby or a toddler or whatever, it's going to be there forever. And that's called euphoric recall or addiction memory circuit, i.e., that memory will never go away. So that's why, you know, you're going to have craving the rest of your life. Your reptilian brain going to trick you into trying to eat or taste something or just a little bit, or you've been good so long. It has hundreds and thousands of stupid, dangerous ways to seduce you.
Mm.
And you have to understand that. So the best thing, you know, with the cravings is to talk about them. Like if you and I were in a support group, you know, and my red dog is trying to trick me into something stupid, I would call you and said, Kelly, listen, I'm going to tell you what my red dog is telling me.
Mm.
And I'm going to come up with this stupid story that, you know, we need to go to the store and do this and just a little bite here and bite there. You know, that would kill it. We have a saying in Sweden, if you speak about the trolls, they pop.
If you speak about
The trolls,
oh, got
they
it.
pop, they blow up, they
Ah,
pop.
we tend to think of it as like this voice of self-sabotage, the voice of the lizard brain, the red dog, whatever. It's sort of those sweet, seductive whisperings.
Yeah.
Verbalize them to someone that you
Write them
trust.
down, tell somebody about it, talk
Okay,
about it, talk about it, and you know, they're gonna evaporate.
great.
Yeah, so that is my favorite trick. And that's why, you know, I have a support system around me with people,
Mm.
and we have been in recovery for a long time. So we make hysterical jokes about it, you
Nice.
know. Oh, okay, call the child and say, you know what's going by here now? No, the ice cream truck. And
Mhm.
and you know what my red dog says? I should chase it through the village. And that makes a fun picture so you can start laughing like crazy,
Yeah.
sure, babe. You use your energy to sharing it with somebody and they share with you, and that is killing the power in it.
Mm.
So you have to be, and also you have to be aware of these things all the time. And also you have to understand that red dog loves to camouflage the craving into headache or boredom or, something that you don't think is a craving. And there are two types of craving.
Okay.
You have the cue-induced craving, which is the most dangerous for us. And
Mm.
that is that our whole world is filled with this food. TV, go to the grocery store, to the gas station. It is everywhere, the sight, the colors, the smell. And that's very dangerous because it's going to hit our reward system. It hits the reptilian brain and it starts playing. It starts playing its game. And
Yes.
coming up with ideas that maybe I should try this and how about this, and that's how you start playing around with the dirty keto. Well, I could have a keto bar, sure, babe. It's all kinds of junk that's going to trigger your brain like crazy,
Yes.
and so many people do that. Or maybe I could have this. In the old days, before we started low carb 2005 in Sweden, and I did, we always, well, the Swedish hard crackers, there is no sugar in them, but it was grain. Woo,
Yeah.
woo. I mean, it was all these stupid mind games.
Yeah.
And you need to tell somebody about it. My red dog thinks that I should eat or that I could eat or that. And you have to be aware that you're out and about, this is going to be triggered.
Mm.
So what is your toolbox? How do you deal with your cravings? I remember one client I asked, can you describe your craving? And she said, well, when I wake up in the morning and my hair aches, I know it's going to be a bad day. Because, yeah, my hair aches. It was a good saying because all of us understood immediately what she meant, that it was horrible. Because you can dream about it, like alcoholics, we can dream that we get drunk. It's
Yeah.
horrible when we're in recovery. We do the same. We can dream that we, go and buy something or eat something, and we wake up with horrible craving.
Yeah.
If we don't deal with that in the morning, it's going to chase you all day long.
Mm.
And you risk taking a bite of something you shouldn't. Thinking about the food, smelling the food creates insulin production. It increases the stress and the cortisol. So we get a physical reaction to the thoughts and the dreams and the pictures and the
Yeah.
smell. So we should never dismiss that. Addiction, memory circuit, and euphoric recall are very, very tough things that we will have the rest of our lives. That's what it is living with a chronic illness. This is a
Mm.
chronic illness. You cannot cure it. You have to deal with it. But once you understand this, like take any other chronic illness, flare-ups,
Mm.
rheumatoid arthritis. I have friends that have that. And now and then they get a flare-up when they have a lot of pain in the joints in their body. And they know that. And then, they know that they have to take certain precautions. They have to be kind to themselves because it's going to pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have the same. We have activation of our chronic illness now and then, and we need to understand that and need to know what to do. Otherwise, if you think, "Oh God, I've been eating carnivore 1 year, I'm cured,"
Yeah.
and you go to a cake party and it hits you, boom.
Right.
I mean, that's very dangerous. It's going to play havoc with every system in your body,
Mm.
physically.
Yes.
Yeah.
So talking about the cues, even after 16 and a half, well, almost 17 years without any sugar, grains, for me, not
Yeah.
even fruits or a vegetable,
Yeah.
I still treat myself as carefully as I did in the
The
first
first day.
6. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I do the same. And I'm a recovering alcoholic, but
Mm.
that craving is gone.
Okay.
But the food is much worse.
I
I
see.
quit alcohol. It's almost going to be 41 years now. And
Oh,
that is sort of dead in my
yeah.
that's brain circuit is dead, I think. So nothing happens there. But food is, that's what I'm saying. Food is much stronger.
Hmm.
Because it has an earlier imprint. I started drinking when I was 19. I started eating sugar when I was 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Can you see the difference?
Yeah. And for many people, it's 4 or 5 months. I mean,
I know, I know, I
yeah.
know, I know.
Yeah.
So when I do the sugar diagnostic, I can see that the first symptom of addiction was when they were 4 or 5 years old.
I see. You mentioned that the cravings can be induced, cue induced, which you said was the most dangerous, by what we
Yeah.
see, smell, just a trigger, something
Hear
triggers.
somebody will hear people crunch, crunch.
What was the second one?
The stress induced.
Stress induced. Gotcha.
Stress induced that, you could say also uh, trauma induced, or something terrible happens to us, or then we also need to know, oh, I need to be very, very careful with myself. I need extra support now because this happened. I
Mhm.
need to have my all my routines in order, my sleep, my breathing. I have to increase all my recovery activity, so I will not pick up the drug.
Good stuff. Do you
Yeah.
ever do you ever discuss post-event collapse syndrome? My last guest, her name was Holly, and she mentioned something that I had heard talked about a long time ago, so then I talked about it. But after the big event, so let's say you did go to the cake party and you were ready. You knew what to expect. You were ready for the cues. You did your breathing. You had talked to your accountability partner before, you talked to them after, and then you go home. And that's when a lot of people then fall apart.
I know, I know.
So,
Yeah.
could you give a
Well,
little
yeah,
more
yeah, and I
why?
think it's good that you mentioned this. Well, because this is the same as, I used to experience in the beginning, like when I was out lecturing to people about
Mm,
addiction, and they loved it, and I was on a high. I was like, oh my God, they love it. And I talked and I talked, and I was very high. So I was all wired up when I came to the hotel room.
yes.
And then, I went to bed, and the next morning, man, this is a hangover. This is
Mhm.
an emotional, because it's like falling in love, right? And when you fall out of love, you're in a hangover. So
Ah,
here, now we come to the reward system,
yeah.
and that is a very sensitive system. It likes to be balanced, and it doesn't like to be, more up than about 80% of its full capacity,
Okay.
or because the more it goes up, the more it goes down when it goes down. So that's what it is. It is actually a hangover, an
Ah.
emotional, physical hangover of the imbalance of neurotransmitters in your brain.
Aha. So
So
you
simple as that.
so you went to this party, you're surrounded by people, you feel proud of
Yes,
yourself, you made
you're
great
high. Oh,
choices.
you're a little bit. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, I do look great, don't I? Thank you so
yeah,
much. Then
yeah.
you go
Everybody
home.
say, woo, woo.
Yeah.
Yep,
You go home, the house is empty. The
yep,
dopamine plummets.
yep.
The high
Because
is
you're going to
gone.
go to bed. And not only dopamine, endorphins,
Mm.
acetylcholine, adrenaline. You have to
Ah.
remember that it is a symphony. There's a picture in
Mm.
my book about this symphony so that you
Okay.
understand it is because you have many, many neurotransmitters, more than that's in my picture, and they all work together as a symphony.
Mm-hmm.
So when you raise a lot of them like this,
Yeah.
what's going to happen when you come home? They need to go back to normal, and that feels like sadness,
Mm-hmm.
hangover. But if you know this, you can counteract it.
Yeah, the same way you handled the party because you were on guard before the party. You knew what to
Yeah,
expect. You knew there will
yeah,
be cues,
yeah.
there will be
Yes.
sugar pushers. What people don't expect is this drop when they get home, the
Yeah, we have to
loneliness.
learn. That's what I mean, learning about addiction and
Yeah,
all the aspects of what we're talking about. And also, this will not be as bad as the years pass on because
right.
you learn to handle it. In the beginning, it shocks you.
Mm-hmm.
You can be so high and feel so good and everything, and then you crash when you
Yeah.
come home and you think, what's wrong with me? I must be the most horrible person on earth. I can't handle anything. I'm a loser. No, you're not.
No.
It's normal. But
Yes.
if you know that, you can go to bed and sleep
Yeah.
and do your routine the next morning, take your salt shot, get up and get going, eat your breakfast if you eat breakfast, blah, blah, blah. And then, you don't have to dwell on the feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of people too, they are afraid of feelings. When they get a lot of feelings, they go, oh my God, I have a lot of feelings. Instead of, as I used to teach my clients, look at the sky. Do you see any clouds? Yeah. Do they move? Yeah. Okay. Look, there's a cloud passing. That's your thoughts and feelings too. They're going to pass. This will pass too.
Yes.
You don't have to, oh my God, I have to analyze this cloud and I have to mess around with my cloud and all that. I mean, there are certain things you need therapy for, but many of the daily emotions, the rides we go through and the crazy thoughts we have and all that. And I talk a lot about that in the book too. You can say, well, okay, that's life. And you go about doing something. Take a walk, use your relaxator, drink water, call a friend, don't analyze. People that analyze, there are two types of people that have a very hard time with recovery.
Okay.
It's the victims.
Mm.
The victims. I feel so sorry for myself. This is happening to me with this, and this is horrible. They have a hard time because they don't want to see their own role in life and living. So they blame everything outside themselves. And then it's the people that are analyzing everything and trying to be perfectionist. They have a hard time with recovery. They have a hard time letting go.
Yeah.
Letting go is a skill. People think that, well, if I say, why don't you let go of that? Oh, you mean I shouldn't care? No, I don't mean you shouldn't care. I mean that you don't carry it and you don't mess with it. Put it away and let go, you know.
Mm.
And I also teach them when they go to bed and they start, oh, I should have done this today and I shouldn't do this well. And then you ask yourself, okay, can I change that now, here and now in bed? And if the question is no, drop it. Let
Mm.
go. Drop it. This,
Yeah.
people need to learn to drop things.
Yes. As a
Yes.
Christian and a person of faith, sometimes when I'm laying in bed and I'm
Mhm.
trying to figure out, everything, then
Yeah.
I'll sometimes do I believe God needs me to solve this for myself?
Yeah.
Do I believe he is waiting on me to solve
Yeah.
this problem? I
The
do not.
word problems. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I do not
Yeah.
think he
That's
needs
a
me.
good one. Yeah. Also, ruminating about yesterday is useless. You can't change a thing. You can't
No.
even change what happened an hour ago, right?
Right.
And then ruminating about tomorrow, you have no guarantees about tomorrow. Nothing.
No?
So it's here and now, here and now. So
Yeah.
people that try to control everything, I used to give them a practice.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, I want you to go outside and I want you to change the weather. And they look at me like I'm absolutely an idiot.
Right.
And of course, you can't. You have to let go.
Yeah.
So I think one of the most loving words that we need to learn applying to ourselves is acceptance. I think that's a beautiful word. It's
Yeah.
horrible in the beginning. No, I don't want to accept that. But, we have to accept that.
Yeah. When my kids were little, just a quick side note, and we were going to plan a week at the beach as our family. So I
Yeah.
had three little ones within 5 years, and I would start looking at the weather for that week as soon as it was available. 2 weeks ahead of time, it's like, oh, they're calling for rain. They're calling, and I would just fret.
Brett.
I would talk about it to my husband. I'd say, what are we going to do with these three kids at the beach? It is calling for rain every single day.
Mm.
And then we would get there.
Yeah.
Some days it would rain, some days it would not.
Mm.
Now, when we are on the way to the beach this year, we just got back. The kids had asked, oh, is it supposed to be hot? And I said, I didn't even look what the weather was supposed to be because I'd started to learn. What am I going to do? It's going
Nothing.
to be what it's going to
Mm.
be.
Mm.
And it's going to, typically, yeah, it does say it's going to rain every day because there's a quick pop up shower. It moves on and
Mm.
it's going to be fine. I said,
Of course. Of
if it
course.
rains, we'll go to the mall.
Yes.
We'll go to a
Yes. Well,
movie.
bring an umbrella.
Yeah.
Sit inside and watch a movie. If it's hot, go out, take a swim. I mean, you can always, it's always what can you come up with doing?
We'll figure it out. What a great
Right,
phrase. We'll
right.
figure
Yeah,
it out.
yeah, of course we do.
all the weeks of me trying to solve the
Fretting,
weather.
fretting. How much energy did you spend on that, Kelly?
Yeah, it accomplished literally nothing. Yeah, the
Yeah,
weather was what it was, and same with
yeah,
so many things. All right,
yeah.
we covered microbiome, pancreas, the red dog, and we talked through how that can be cue induced or stress induced.
Mm.
Number 4, where are we?
Reward system, the
Rewards.
symphony, yeah, that's what we just talked about.
Okay, so that played
No,
into That's why I keep struggling with number 4, because to me, red dog and lizard brain and reward system, I've always labeled my reward system the lizard brain. So I guess we're
yeah,
just
but well, it drives it.
okay.
When the symphony orchestra, when you throw sand in the beautiful symphony up there by
Yes.
eating sugar and carbs, it starts wobbling and screaming and be quiet and screaming. It's going to be all chaos.
Okay.
Of course, and that activates the reptilian brain.
I see.
And then, it activates the pancreas and it
Uh-huh.
activates the microbiome, which activates the brain. So
Uh,
it's a circle, and you're in the middle with those four horrible forces,
mhm.
trying to kill you by
That's
eat, eat, eat. That's exactly what's happening. And these are incredible, powerful physical forces that create physical, psychological, social, and spiritual bereavement.
mm,
So it takes your life energy out of you, all of these together, if you feed them sugar and carbs.
yeah.
Yeah.
For me, cutting out carbs, grains, sugars, anything sweet tasting, not just the sugar,
Yeah.
anything sweet
Yeah,
tasting.
yeah. And anything carby increasing insulin, I like to put on top of that. Yeah.
Yeah. That I was good. I mean, it got me from insanely sugar addicted to then I went through some tough withdrawal. It was a tough
Oh,
start.
that's no fun. Withdrawal is the mess.
It really
Oh,
was. It was
yep.
shakes, food
Yeah.
obsessed, and I just kept,
Foggy brain, can't think
oh,
clear. Oh, what am I going to do? Help, panic, anxiety,
exhaustion because I was a teacher.
irritation. Yeah.
I was a teacher. I was grumpy. I was tired. I couldn't think about anything but these animal crackers that were in the classroom next to me. It
Yeah,
was so bad, but I kept
I
thinking,
know.
I hear if you make it through it once, you never have to go through it again.
Right, right,
And
right.
that
Well,
was like the mantra.
I took the most beautiful relapse. I'm saying beautiful relapse because it taught me so much to have even more respect. And that was when I was 48, just
Okay.
quite some years ago. And it was with chocolate, which it was my biggest love.
Mm.
And yeah, I never liked flour and grain and stuff
Oh,
like that. I don't care. But chocolate.
yeah.
So anyway, I used to say I know why the Aztecs worshipped cacao as a god. They did. I understand.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but anyway, that was the most horrible thing because I could not stop. I could have bathed in it. I used to tell people I could have put it in the bathtub and laid there and bathed
Oh,
and don't take me out of here. I
yes.
could stop, but I got help. I called and got a new sponsor that helped me out of it. But that was months of withdrawal in come and go and worse days and better days and I wrote down all my symptoms
Mm.
and have I think I have that list somewhere thinking that if my red dog think oh wait maybe we should have a piece of chocolate I go wait a minute I'm gonna get my list.
Mm.
Do you want to should we do this? No, for God's sake, no, we don't do that. So
Oh,
that's a good point, for me anyway. And also there are many lists in the book about, withdrawal symptoms and all that that you can use to check off. This is how bad it is. This is how bad it is. I'm not crazy. I'm not stupid. This is withdrawal.
yeah.
My whole brain and body screaming because it doesn't get the drug.
Yeah.
And that's sad. That's horrible sad. And then if you have a sponsor or accountability person or some support group,
Mm.
you need to share that with them every day. And the worst part is that when you start detoxing, many symptoms can get worse, like your intestine and so forth. But
Yes.
that's okay because it has to clear it out. So you can feel much worse the first 3, 4, 5 days, but then you're going to see, oh, numbers are decreasing. And then
Mhm.
it's funny, I have another one in there too. It's called the biomarker, which is much more extensive with all kinds of scratching in your ears and God knows what. But then people called me and said after 3 weeks, no, I don't think there's so much better. I said, okay, what's your numbers on the biomarker?
Mhm.
And they said, well, they are lower. Okay, so something must be better.
Yes.
And then we look through it and say, oh, yeah, but my headache is a 2 now. It was a 4. Ah,
Oh,
there you go, babe. So they think that everything going to clear up at once.
no.
So they need to see this slowly that, one step at a time, you are healing, you are healing, you are healing. You're on the right track. Keep going, keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The idea of things sometimes getting worse before it gets better, I do think it needs to be talked about more. Sometimes we cut out oxalates and because we have
Oh,
oxalate buildup.
oh,
So then they
oh,
get the dumping. And you're like, well, now it's
oh,
worse. Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. Horrible.
Horrible. Yes. Painful, miserable.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
When the microbiome, the what we might call the bad bacteria, when it dies off, it can make cravings worse for
Much
a while.
worse. And also, it can make you very sick. So it's
Yes.
both the bacteria and it is, fungus,
Uh,
like the candida, different types of fungus. It can be all kinds of nasty buggers in there. And you have more bacteria in your intestine than you have cells in your body. So I used to joke and say, who is the host of whom?
yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hearing, if I were doing it completely on my own, and if I were dealing with oxalate dumping, all the detox symptoms, maybe they're struggling with histamine reactions because they don't know about
Yeah,
they,
yeah. There are
they,
so many things we haven't covered that it could be. Oh my goodness. Yes.
but then you're in a group or you're working with someone or you're reading your book and you realize,
Yeah,
oh,
you talk about it. I have, and people say like, they whisper almost because they feel afraid. Say, I have a weird symptom, and then they tell it, and I said, yeah,
yeah,
most of us have. What?
that's,
What?
that's
Yeah,
normal.
I think that's so much fun. That's
It
fun.
is. And it's
Mm.
something I think the worst pain that exists is to whatever the hurt is to do it alone. Or
Yes,
to,
absolutely. And thinking I'm the only one in the world that's this nutty. I
yeah.
said, no, you're not. Do you think you're the only one experiencing this? No way. One thing it didn't mention, but I write about it in the book,
Mm.
how to increase oxytocin. Remember, I told you that carbon dioxide and oxytocin are the biggest relaxation system in the whole body.
Yes.
So instead of stressing to reduce stress by running and doing stuff,
Hmm.
you need to wait for those waves of them coming to you and increase oxytocin. That's a way to counteract the stress.
How could we do that?
Well, one of the things that we know that increases oxytocin is protein and fat, heavy food. Vanilla pudding is no good, no good whatsoever. But a piece of steak with some butter on is beautiful because you need pressure in your stomach.
Hmm.
You can pressure on your stomach, pressure on your body increases oxytocin, like hugging, petting a dog is
Oh,
beautiful. Breathing exercises,
okay.
relaxation, like going to the hairdresser, somebody doing something
Mm.
with your hair is increasing oxytocin. There are many, many ways, and there is a list in the book of how to increase oxytocin because it's very important to do that, to know how to increase oxytocin.
Oh, that's great.
It's
Is it
anti-inflammatory, it is relaxing. Yeah.
excellent? Is it cleaning? I know talking about the different chemicals, like our happy chemicals that are released in our brains,
Mhm.
cleaning a drawer, let's say. What
Yeah.
I feel like is something like that on the list for oxytocin, or is that more?
Absolutely. Yeah, organizing things. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going out cutting dead flowers in my garden. That's increasing oxytocin. Yeah.
Ah. What
Yeah.
does is oxytocin also sexually?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Of
I
course it
thought
is.
so.
It's a bonding hormone. It's a
Yeah.
bonding hormone or peptide, whatever you want to call it. Yes.
So when we are cutting out the things that used to give us these little hits and highs, or not really just little ones, massively more than we really should have gotten because they were processed factory foods, then we cut
Yes.
all that out. Our oxytocin is in the dirt. But if we have protein and fat, baby, I got to tell you, the steak I just ate this morning, I guarantee you that was an oxytocin hit. It was
Yes. Yes.
so good.
Yeah, I had my own homemade hamburger for lunch with
Mm.
lots of butter.
Oh,
It was heavy duty.
yes. And then when I eat that steak and my husband comes in and gives me a big hug, bye
Yeah.
for work,
Yeah.
and I take a few deep breaths outside with the sun on my face, or
Yeah.
take a little movement, some walk. Maybe
Yeah.
husband went into work a little late, so it was more than a hug. Maybe
Yeah.
then I got
Yeah.
to clean in the house or take on that junk drawer. Oh, I've even heard that completing a circuit. So let's say that last night we had dirty dishes. So I put them in the dishwasher. And then the next morning, I wake up, I take them out, and I put them back in their place. Circuit complete. That simple little act of completing a circuit can give that little hit.
Yeah. I call it finishing what you're doing. Instead
Okay.
of when you're stressed and you are scatterbrain,
Yes.
you do a little bit here and a little bit there, and oh, I have to do this, or I should do this. And
Mm.
you run around and you scatter yourself and stress yourself up instead of, I used to tell people take 20 minutes and finish, if you don't have time to clean your whole desk, make sure you draw like an imaginary line. Within the next 20 minutes, I'm not going to do anything else but
Mm.
organizing this part. And then you feel good. And usually you keep doing it then.
Yes.
You work on it. So you can trick yourself with mind games like that, to do good things.
A checklist.
Yes,
Surely then the checklist. Oh
I
my.
love checklists. I
Oh
love
man.
checklists. I love to do this. Yes.
Yes. So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
I
that's
have.
why I have, a written journal too. So I can take my pencil and go, toot.
Yeah, it feels so good.
It does. It does. I have it
I-
in the phone too, but I want to have it here.
yeah.
Something else you can do is brush your teeth with the other hand. If you always
Oh,
brush it with your right hand, brush your
yes.
teeth with your left hand. Another thing you can do, walk backwards through the door. Turn around and go backwards through the door. All these little things is preparing your brain to create new pathways and new neurons.
Hmm.
The brain, I have a little tool. I
Okay.
got this from some of my friends. I used to tell people that it is when your brain get a little bit shocked over your behavior. That's when it creates new neurons. Like, oh my goodness, And I show them this. So anything you can do that is not some old routine,
Yes.
do it in a different way. Sit at a different chair with your table.
Hmm.
Do different things. All that would prepare your brain. Oh, we are growing, new neurons, new pathways. Goody, goody.
Oh, I like that. I heard
Yeah.
that you take a different path home from work,
Yes,
or, anything you change about the day, you're also more likely to remember that day.
absolutely.
But I like what you're saying. It's not just create more memories and I think they were saying it's also supposed to like just make you happier in general because you're every day trying to do something a
Yeah,
little new, a little
yeah.
different. But you're saying it's
Mhm.
also training our brain to be,
It's preparing your brain for creating new neurons, new pathways. The red dog pathways, the old memory about drugs and pathways, they never go away.
mm,
Any thoughts, any feelings you have had will always be in this supercomputer,
oh,
right?
right.
So you can't take it away and think if you have a bad thought, you can't say, oh, go away, go away. You
Mm.
have to create a new one and practice that one. So that's why I call my treatment brain bypass. Like you do in the heart, the bypass, a new
Yes.
pathway. That's what you do. You create new pathways, but you
So
have to practice.
practicing new pathways then allows
Yes,
for
all the
this.
time. Yeah,
Okay.
all the time. Then they override the old ones.
So, for example, for me growing up, pizza was associated with birthdays, roller
Yeah,
skating, friends,
yeah, yeah,
sleepovers, parties. That was
yeah.
that was the connection.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I have learned growing up to say pizza, IBS. Pizza. Oh, the stabbing pain afterwards. Pizza. Like
Yep.
I have started. It's not that those old memories are erased, but I don't romanticize them anymore. They have
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
new
You
pathways.
can't erase them. You
No.
can't erase them. That's why I can't erase my love for chocolate when I was a child, and that's the first candy I got ever. We
Oh,
didn't have any other candies.
oh,
That was the first love. So that's going to be stuck there, you know. But when my red dog thinks that we should mess around with that,
yes.
I have to get on top and said, "Hey, go in the basket. Sit
Mhm.
down. Don't move. Shut up. Boom, boom." You know,
Yeah.
I'm the fiercest dog trainer.
And that's when you
And then,
pull out your list, your former list of symptoms. And
yeah, oh, yes, that's scary. That's a scary list. I never want to be back there again.
no, same here.
Yeah.
And one reason I know this is needed right before this interview, I got a DM from somebody I have never messaged with before. Brand new first message. And I'll just use the first name. Her name is LaShawn. And LaShawn wrote in response to photos of my steak. I ate 3 steaks yesterday and I posted all 3 pictures, said breakfast, lunch, dinner on Instagram. And she said, "You make it seem so easy and it looks good too. So why can't I do this? I know I would feel so much better." And doesn't that little message summarize where so many people are?
Yeah, and they have a very, very ill-behaved red dog that they have never gotten help to train, and they don't understand the 4 forces,
Mm-hmm.
how they act on each other. That you have to get help and start healing all of them at once. You can't just work on the food part. You have to understand addiction. You have to understand the forces. You have to look over your day. You have to change behavior. That's it. Every client of mine is almost a registered dietitian. They know everything about food.
Oh,
So they know how to stop, but they don't know how to stay stopped. They
mm,
don't know what to do about this craving monster that pops up all the time. They don't have a toolbox for craving and craving management. And they don't have a toolbox for relapse prevention, which is extremely important to have, you know, knowing about your trigger signals, knowing about your hidden warning signals, understanding risk situation, asking for help. They need to do all those behavior changes. You can't, if you only work on food, you're going to start working on a new food plan in a few weeks and a new one, and you're going to feel like a failure.
yeah.
So quit obsessing about food, for God's sake.
Yeah, now you said fixing the food will help with the microbiome. It'll help with the insulin in the pancreas. The
Yeah.
food will help. For me, getting that sweet taste out gave me at
Yeah,
least,
but
ooh,
once you have changed the food, you have to focus on all the other behavior things.
yeah, I wrote down a lot of stuff that you
Oh,
said
yeah,
that had
yeah.
nothing to do with food. You're
You
right.
see? Yeah, you
Yeah.
see? Yeah.
Okay, I just got off the call with Bitten and I have so many notes written down. I don't know if this will be helpful to y'all or not, but sometimes it helps me to just do a review. But I didn't want to make her sit here through this entire review. So, what she said is there are 4 primary ways that we can counteract addiction. One is our microbiome. Starve out the bad guys with meat. Stop feeding the candida and the bad gut bacteria with carbs, grains, sugar. She says that some people can even feed their good bacteria with a small amount of ferments, which she treats as a supplement, even if it's just a little spoonful. And many of us have tried adding, instead of the actual fiber, adding the liquid off of, say, sauerkraut, not the canned kind, because that was treated with heat and it kills off a lot of the good stuff, but the kind that you find in a refrigerator section. She also says to encourage healthy microbiome to do slow breath work, nasal breathing. If you're a mouth breather, mouth taping at night, some stress management, because being intensely stressed chronically is like a death wish for our healthy microbiome. The second thing she said was the pancreas, because our pancreas is what is releasing insulin. And when it's just releasing insulin, it leads to insulin resistance. So she says to eat the foods that are going to allow your insulin to come down. Meat, eggs, animal products, they're not going to spike your glucose. And if your glucose is not spiked, then your insulin has very little to do. So we're eating animal products. We're avoiding anything that causes glucose spikes. She did give a few supplements like GABA. She said 500 milligrams in the evening can help with sleep. And of course, sleep is going to help with insulin resistance. Carnitine, I have not tried either of those myself. Electrolytes and minerals. Some of us eat a lot of meat and find that we don't necessarily need to add any electrolytes other than salt. She does talk a lot about the benefits of salt, though. So many of us salt to taste or pretty heavily. And then for our insulin, weight training, movement. Movement is going to be helpful because muscle is magic when it comes to insulin resistance. Sleep, stress management, movement, and then avoiding foods that spike our glucose, eating the foods that don't. 5 pillars of fixing insulin resistance. The third aspect, so let's say over here, microbiome, pancreas, insulin resistance, the red dog, or what I would call the lizard brain. I like how she framed it as a survival tool. I do not believe it was given there to be a source of temptation and evil. It was to help us to simply survive. We can also reduce our euphoric recall, how we romanticize these foods, and we remember it at such joyous times of our young age. No, I say associate it with what it did to you. How did it make you feel? Which is where her journaling comes into play, where she says, how does that food make me feel? How did I feel afterwards? Did I feel sluggish or did I feel energetic? Did I feel angsty and wired and couldn't sleep? Or did I feel energized by day, restful by night? Did I have food peace? How does the food make me feel instead of what memory do I associate it with in childhood? To manage this red dog or lizard brain, I love how she says, talk about it. What is that voice, lizard, red dog? What is it saying to you? Joke about it, talk about it openly. This is partly why we say community is the opposite of addiction, because we share about it. When it stays hidden, locked in our minds, yeah. So take away its power. Discussion, talk to people who have made it through, hear that this too shall pass. Also, we need to guard ourselves. She talks about how these cravings are either cue-induced or stress-induced, and we can be on guard for both. I do not watch carby commercials. I do not linger around any bakery. I do not spend time smelling, looking at, having it on my hands. Some of y'all out here cooking all the time, sugary smells, and you're like, why do I keep falling back in? I don't do that. I'm not going to tempt myself that way. It's not that I'm being fearful. I'm being wise. I'm being on guard, and I still treat myself like the recovering addict that I will always be. As for the stress-induced part, she says that movement, doing something, helps to reduce the stress. Talking out the situation can reduce the stress. Being aware of the post-event collapse syndrome, being aware before you go to a party, yes, what are the triggers going to be? Thinking through, maybe even scripting out, what if someone does ask me, do you want any of this? Are you just eating meat? Like, think through how you plan to respond, how you want to eat, how you want to feel when you come home. And I didn't say this during the interview, but for me, with post-event collapse syndrome, I am thinking of my after-party plan even before the party starts. I know when I get home, I'm going to get to take off the heels, the dress. I'm going to put on, I have these cozy cow socks I love. I have my favorite fuzzy blanket. I have my decaf herbal tea. It's a cinnamon tea. Makes me so happy. If I want food, I will have a steak waiting or some hard-boiled eggs or something so that I can then eat. I'm going to get those dopamine levels and endorphins back in healthy ways because I'm already going to expect the drop after the vacation or the party or the hack your health event. You know, people can make such amazing choices and they're riding this high and then there is a drop. But for me, knowing that it's coming, being prepared, having other healthy ways to get these endorphins and dopamine and everything back up. Good stuff. Very helpful. And then some of the final thoughts that I wrote down Well, some of that also had to do with quadrant number 4, the reward system. So we had the microbiome, the pancreas with insulin resistance, the red dog of addiction or lizard brain, and then also reward system. And I kind of like pairing those two together, but it's okay. We can separate them. Some additional things to keep a list of our former symptoms that we can always refer to. So instead of romanticizing this food, whatever your trigger food was or your favorite, associate it with that list of symptoms. That food gave me the acne, the boils, the costochondritis, the obesity. I don't want those things back. And it was because of that food that I dealt with it in the first place. So we can change our thoughts about it, which will then change our feelings about the food. And it really can start to change our desires of what we think, oh, that was my favorite. It's like, yeah, that hurt me. She said that having daily accountability is really important. I agree completely. I encourage those who are struggling in the group every morning, come and tell us what you're going to do today. Is your commitment that you're going to stick to only animal products and that you're going to take a 10-minute walk? Come tell us that morning. Stay accountable and check in that night. How did it go? Huge. Okay. Detoxing can make things worse before they get better. It's important to remember that you are not alone and to find ways to increase your oxytocin by eating protein and fat, by doing something like a hug, which puts pressure on the body, touching, even if it's petting the dog, holding or smelling the baby, cleaning, organizing, checking off a checklist, handwriting, such good things. Y'all, I hope some of this is helpful. I'm going to cut back to the video where I say goodbye to Bitten. This was a longer video than usual, but I hope it was worth your time. If you're willing to say hi in the comments, every single comment, even if it's just, hey, this is helpful, or hi, Kelly, or thanks, Bitten, anything like that helps push the video to other people, and people need us. There are people out there who are struggling and fighting, and they just think they're a glutton or, there's something wrong with them. So let's get some information in their hands. All right, back to the video. Yeah. So for LaShawn, if you were watching, or for anyone who is feeling a lot like LaShawn right now, you are not messed up. You are not broken.
No. Your brain is hijacked.
Yeah.
By a powerful drug.
Mm-hmm.
And you need help to get that hijacker out of your brain. If you need support, you need knowledge, support.
Yeah, agreed. Hey, I'm going to link to your book. I appreciate you so much coming on to share.
I appreciate the invite. Thank you.
Absolutely.
For having me share. Yeah.
I think we have a lot of things here that could be genuinely helpful. So I hope so. Very thankful for your time.
I love sharing, Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming back. For the rest of you, if you need help, get the book, get some support, join the groups. We're here for you. We've been through it. We know you're not broken or crazy, and we would love to come alongside and help you get free as well. So I hope you can join us back next Saturday. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.